Today in mathematics, 10th standard mathematics, let us look at the first unit, real numbers. Okay, and all these years we have been studying real numbers. This time we have got something new. Actually, you would have heard about a mathematician Euclid. He has given so many geometrical theories, and now he has written about numbers also, the number systems also. So let us look at what he has done, what is his contribution, and why are we learning his theory now. Always these years you have been learning LCM and HCF, and you will be well aware of it, and always it starts with factorization. But when it comes with a very large numbers, factorization of large numbers, that too, we won't be able to identify prime numbers. It will be very difficult for you to identify it as a prime number and then continue with factorization. So he has come out with new theories or ideologies in which you can calculate, find out the LCM and the HCF, probably first the HCF of two numbers first. Okay, and before that, let us understand what is a real number first. So any number which can be written as P by Q, as P by Q is defined as a real number. P by Q is if any number, let it be 5, 6 or 105, anything. Any number which can be written in the format of P by Q. If I am going to write 501 and I can write it as 501 by 1. So this Q should not be equal to 0. That is the only and one condition. If any number can be written as P by Q, whatever the number let it be. It can be 1010 or 200, any number by 1. It can be written by 1. And so this number, this denominator is not equal to 0, and because that this becomes a real number. You might by now you all will be knowing division. We are just doing normal division. So let us consider any two numbers. Let us consider 17 and 6. And we always take the bigger number on the top and divide it with the smaller number. What we get? 2, 12, and we get a remainder. So I can write this 17 by 6 is equal to, I get a 2 plus 5. So can I express this as 2 into 6 plus 5? Does it make sense? 17 is equal to 2 into 6, that is 12, 12 plus 5, 17. We get the question. So this has always been P, this divisor Q, this is Q, and this they have given a new name R, and this is the, this usually we call this as A, and this as B, and this as Q, and this as R. The remainder is R, and this is the quotient, so Q. Okay, and now okay, the only condition for a number to be a real number is A divided, when I divide A by B, it should give a remainder Q, and if it gives a remainder, it can be 0, the remainder can be 0, or if it gives a remainder, the remainder will be less than, it can be 0, greater than 0, and it should be less than the B. This is the only condition. If any number, any division of any number satisfies this rule, we can follow Euclid's division lemma. Okay. A lemma means again a statement, and this is the end result of Euclid's division lemma, and we are going to continue with division by using the same statement. We are going to find the HCF of two different numbers using Euclid's division lemma, and we are going to use this statement, basic statement, to find the HCF. Okay, let us take two numbers, any two numbers. Let us take the first sum of your exercise, 135 and 225. 135 and 225. First exercise, first sum. Let us consider this sum. So I'll first find out which is the bigger number. So I'll take 225 divided by 135. When I do this, 225 divided by 135. It comes for 1 time. $90. So I can write this A by B. This is what is the lemma says. A by B is equal to, I get a divisor plus a remainder. So I write the same numbers in that format. 225 by 135 is equal to divisor 1 and I get a remainder 90. So now I have to consider these two numbers 135 and 90. I am going to use this 135 and 90 as A and B. Okay, 135 by 90 as A and B. The values of A and B are changing. We are using a new number for it now. And so when I divide again, 135 by 90, again one time 90, and I get a remainder 5 and 4. So this also adds up as 1 plus 45. Again I consider the two numbers. This 90 becomes the A for the next step. It becomes for 90 by 45. A by B becomes 90 by 45. And again when I divide 90 by 45, I get 2 times 90 and I get a 0, remainder 0. So what happens? 2 plus 0. I continue this same division till I get a 0. Once I get a 0, it means that 45, the last divisor, 45 becomes the HCF of the both two numbers. Okay. This is the way to find HCF using Euler's division lemma. The logic behind this Euler's division lemma is HCF of 135, 225 is equal to 45. That is the question given to find HCF. But also HCF of 135 and 90. 135 and 90 is also equal to 45, and LCM of 90, 45 is also 45. So the HCF, it's not only the HCF of these two numbers, it is the, for every step, whatever number we have used in every step, this becomes the HCF, 45 becomes the HCF. This is the speciality of Euler's division lemma. Phone is always in record, no? Okay, now when we consider the second sum in the exercise, the sum is 196 and 38,220. Find the HCF of these two numbers. And as I said, Euler's division lemma, it's mainly used only to find the HCF of large numbers. We are trying to use those numbers now. When I divide, I divided already, and I divide, then I get an answer as 195. So I can write it as 38220 divided by 196 is equal to 195 with the remainder 0. So what does this mean? It means I am going with the third sum now. We see that we are using the bigger number here and the smaller number here. I'll try with 5. 255 divided into 5. 5 5s are 25, 25, 27, 2 5s are 10, 12. So it's a big number, bigger number. So shall I try with 400? Yeah. 4 5s are 20, 4 5s are 20, 22 again. 2 4s are 8, 9, 10. Even then it's bigger. So with 3 5s are 15, 3 5s are 15, 16. 2 3s are 6, 7. 7, 65. It's for 3 times. Then I subtract. I get 2, 0 and 1. 102. Then again, I can't divide it smaller already. So I use this as the next divisor. Sorry. I use 255 divided by 102. Okay. So it comes for 2 times, I think. 102 into 2. 2 2s are 4. 0. 1 2 is 2. So 2 times 2 not 4. And I get a remainder 1 and 5. 51. And so I have got a remainder. And again I try this 102 divided by 51. I get it divided with 2 times. And I get a remainder 0. As soon as I get a remainder 0, I can understand that this becomes the HCF of these two numbers. HCF of 876, 255 is equal to 51. Again, I want you to remember this division lemma, that it also says 51 is also the HCF of these two numbers and also these two numbers. This is the speciality of Euler's division lemma. We can find the HCF of the different pairs, different factors of the higher value numbers also. Okay. We have finished with the third sum and we will go to the second sum now. And again I want you to remember Euler's division lemma, the main formula of it. It can be written as A is equal to B into Q plus R, where R should be less than or equal to B. It can be 0 or it should be less than or equal to B. Okay. And so now not only finding HCF, that's the use of Euler's division lemma is not only used to find HCF, it is also used to find whether this number is going to be a real number. You would have done a lot of arithmetic expression to find whether this number is a real number, it's an even number or odd number. It's used for all those things. On Euler's division lemma, this theorem, it can be used to find out whether a number is an even number or odd number when it is in a algebraic form. Okay. So the next question, the second question is it's in the form of an algebraic expression. They are asking to show if any positive odd number can it be written in the form of 6q plus 1 or 6q plus 3 and 6q plus 5. Can it be written? They are asking whether these algebraic expression represent an odd number. They are odd integer. That's the question. Okay. And q can be any number. It can be 2, 3, 4, 5. It can be any number. It can be an odd number. It can be an even number. It can be any number. It should not be equal to 0. That's the only condition they have. Okay. Now proceeding further, when we do this sum, we get this as the answer. I have substituted an odd number and also an even number for this equations. Okay. I have used, in the place of q, I have used 1 and 2. When I used 6 into 1 plus 1, I got an odd number 7. And then again I multiplied with 2 here. And again and the answer end result is odd number. And again when I multiplied with 3 and I add with 1, I get an odd number as the answer. Even when I multiply with add it with 3 again, I get odd numbers only as answer. So whatever number I use, I get the end result as odd numbers only, because the numbers what I add here, those are given odd number, makes the number to be odd. So what can we understand? We can understand that when I add an odd number to an even number or odd number, it gives only the result of an odd number. That is the end result of Euler's division lemma. Okay. So whatever the number I multiply here, if this r is going to be an odd number, the end result will be produced as an odd number only. So it can be even 7, 6q plus 7 also will give an odd number, 6q plus 9 also will give an odd number. This is the, ultimately how to understand, this is the meaning of the Euler's division lemma. Going forward to the third sum, all these years you would have been wondering why should I ever learn HCF and what is the use of LCM in my day-to-day life. Now you can read the third sum. It says that there is an army people of 616 people are there in a regiment or contingent, okay? And there is a band member, there are 32 people. So 32 people or can stand in a row of 2 rows or 3 rows, anything like that. And these 616 people also have to accommodate within that 2 row or the 3 row or 4 row, however it is possible. So what should we find? You have to find the HCF here. I want to make an arrangement, formation. So I want to find the minimum least number which can accommodate all these people, 616 people and these 32 people, all should stand in the even number of lines. Not even, it can be 2 lines, 3 lines, 4 lines, whatever. So we have to find that number, and that number is the HCF of these two numbers. So finding HCF of, we have to find the HCF of 616 and 32. You can do prime factorization method, but you have been specially taught Euler's division lemma. So let us proceed with Euler's division lemma. I am dividing the bigger number 616 divided by 32. 616 divided by 32 is equal to, when I proceed, I get 1 time 32 and I get a remainder 11. When I borrow, it becomes 20 and 32 into 8. 2 8s are 16, 3 8s are 24, 25, 25, and I multiply with 9. 2 4 18, 3 8 9 7 18, 27, 28, 288. I used 19. So 16 divided by 8. I borrowed, so this becomes 8. So I get again remainder 8 I have got. I am dividing 32 divided by 8 and it makes 4. So ultimately what can I understand? All these people, 616 people, have to stand in a row 30 and have to stand in a row of 4 people. All these people can be accommodated in a 4 rows. Okay. The HCF of these two numbers is equal to 4. That is the answer for this sum. HCF of these two numbers. So all these people have to stand in 8 columns to accommodate every people without any remainder. That is the HCF of 616 and 32. Okay. Coming back to the third sum, we can see that this is the question given. We have to prove that it's a 3m or 3m plus 1 is going to be a square of 3m, or 3m plus 1 is going to be a positive number. Instead of m, I am going to consider as q, so that you know you have been using division lemma, you can understand it more better. That instead of m, I am writing it as 3q. Okay. I am considering let a be a positive integer and let 3q be assumed to be a. Calculating with a will be easier than 3q. That's why we are using as a. And then I am giving this number r. This number is represented here, it is 0, so it's not shown. Here it is 1 or 2. And so the r's value is going to be equal to 0 or less than 3, not equal, less than 3. Okay. So now we are going to square these numbers. When I square it, first part, when there are 2 cases in this. 3 cases in this. 3q plus 1 and 3q plus 2. So I have got 3 cases in this. So first part, when I do that, let a is equal to 3q. When I square it, a square becomes 3q whole square, and so it becomes 9q square. Okay. And then when I square the second part of it, 3q plus 1 a square is equal to. So I square this, it becomes a plus b whole square is equal to. I use a formula and I get a square plus b square plus 2ab. It's called as 6q into 1, right? 6q. Then when I do that for the third number again, a square, when I consider for the 3q plus 2, in that 3q plus 2 whole square is equal to again a square plus b square plus 2 2's or 4 3's are 12q. Okay, and I get all these answers. In this, I can see that all the numbers are positive numbers, right? There is no place for negativity only in this equations. So I can say when I square a number which has got these, it always gives a positive answer. So that is the question, and we got it answered by using Euclid's division lemma. Instead of considering it any number, just consider it as any number multiplied with 3 when it adds with 0, 1 or 2, and when it's squared, a positive integer. Use the square of a positive integer will always be a positive integer, and we proved it using Euclid's division lemma. That's the fourth sum, and we go to the fifth sum now. The same procedure we will be following, but we will be cubing it, everything. Instead of squaring it, we will be cubing it. Again, in the fifth sum, we are considering, let the positive number be 9m, right? 9m, instead of 9m, I am considering it as 3q. Because again, 3 into 3 becomes 9. So I am considering it as 3q only. And I will consider it as 9m plus 1 as 3q plus 1. So I will consider 9m is equal to 3q. In the place of 9 now, I am using 3q. So, and at the end result, I multiply it with 3. Okay, so it won't make a difference for you in the answer. So 3q plus 1, 3q plus 2. And they asked us to find the cubes of all these numbers. So when I do a cube is equal to 3q whole cube, and it becomes 9q cube. And next number, 3q plus 1 whole cube is equal to, I use this formula a plus b whole cube. That formula when I use, I already calculated it, so I'll copy it just down. So I get 27q cube plus 27q square plus 9q plus 1. And when I use 3q plus 2 whole cube, I get 27q cube plus 54q q square, and 36q plus 8. Okay, and in this I can see that there is a common number 9 in for all these three terms. So I bring out that 9 here. It becomes 9 3q cube plus 9q square plus only q and plus 1. So this whole equation is a positive equation. So I can say this whole thing can be written as 9. You come back to the question, you get it as 9m here. Okay, this is 9m and this is 9m plus 1. Okay, whatever this number is, I want it to be a positive number, so I am writing it as 9m. And again here also in this part, I can take 27 outside. I get q plus 2q square plus, I can't take 27, I can take only 9 outside, sorry. Take 9 outside, I have 3q plus 3q square plus 4q plus 8, and this is what is again required as per your question. I have come back to the question, reverse of the question. So I have done that and I have proved. I have got 9m plus 1, 9m plus. This part alone you have to understand that whatever the numbers is there inside this bracket, I want only the 9 outside to represent the question. And I have got the question. So any positive number, integer, if I am going to cube it, I will get it in the form, the answer end result will be in the form of 9m plus 1 or 9m plus 8. Okay. With this we are finishing the first exercise of real numbers using Euler's division